There we go. There's usually I clicked it off right away. I wasn't sure if it was going to happen or not. There's like a little intro video that goes, but we usually do it on the radio show. I do a radio show earlier on Wednesdays, and I was like, oh man, it's going to like flip this and surprise the hell out of you. Clicked it off just in time. Keefer, welcome to the bar, the best damn bar, home service happy hour. Good to have you. Happy Wednesday night.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I gotta get my Busch Light cracked open here. I got a tall boy. What do you got over there? Kind of got that. What do you got?
You already Welcher. Because I'm a non-drinking man these days.
Good for you. Good for you.
But cheers to you.
Cheers. Hey, at happy hour, you can drink anything that you fucking want. That's the beauty of it. Okay. There's no, you can drink water, you can drink juice, you can drink soda, you can drink barley water. If these are more expensive though, so it's just a bad habit, it's
yeah.
How the heck are you doing today? What you got going on? What's good?
Just busy growing, busy trying to keep up with things, trying to keep up with my kids. Got a lot of kids, as I was telling you. So they just finished school. Today was their last day, so now Dad's gonna have even more time with them. Yay!
Summer break time, man.
Summer break time.
You were saying you got a son that's 13 and then a boy and a girl that are 11-year-old twins. Have you hit like the age thing where now they're just gone all the time? Like everybody I know that's got like teenage kids, they're just like, I never see them anymore. Like, are you hitting that cusp where they just go out and do things with friends and you're like, I guess they'll be home when they get home, or how does this work?
It's starting to trickle to that. The 13-year-old a little bit more. My 11-year-old daughter, she goes out, but my 11-year-old son is like tied to my hip all the time. So we call him Mini Me. He's always attached to me. So yeah.
Do they get interested in your business stuff at all, or are they just kind of off doing their own thing?
They are now. So that's kind of cool. Like they're showing their friends and stuff. They'll come into my studio here, right, and be surprised. They're like, "Oh man, it looks so cool in here, Mr. Keefer." Right? Like, what do you do? And all that stuff. That went down earlier today again, and nice. that was cool. Makes me feel really good. And then my son, who always acts like he doesn't care, my 13-year-old, when his friends care, then all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, that's what my dad does." Super cool. Right? Yeah. It's like, oh, really?
Points can I rack up real quick? My friend said, yeah, cool. Yeah, that is cool. That's cool, Dad.
So,
like, are they sportsy kids? Are they nerdy kids? What's the demographic of your triage?
Yeah, my one son's gone through all kinds of stages. It was big into sports there for a little bit, and then went totally emo on us. Then went gamer, and now he's just out and about, like trying to figure things out. Does preppy sometimes, right? So he's all over the place. My daughter, she's going through a tomboy stage, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. That's a personal favorite of mine. And then my other son, my mini me just doesn't care. He just doesn't care about it.
What are we doing, Dad?
He's the most chill kid like ever, right? He just wants everybody to feel loved, and he's willing to make them feel that way. And that's all he wants. He just doesn't really care about anything else. He's a very just relaxed, lovable kid.
Do you find this is like a thing I grapple with as an entrepreneurial dude with 3 kiddos? Because I was telling you earlier, I got 9-year-old daughter, 7-year-old daughter, and then about a 3-year-old son. And I'm always like fighting this battle of I want them to like the things that I want in a way. I grew up playing a lot of sports, and I like watching sports and being a part of sports. So it's like I kind of want to influence maybe what sports I want to play, but I don't want to burn them out or tell them what to do. Right? I don't want them to live their own lives. I kind of want to be interested in business, but I don't want to like push it on them. Like I want to see if they're interested in it. I really like outdoorsy stuff, hunting and fishing. Like that is my ultimate passion, but you can alienate them from that really quick if you like push it on them. So are there things in your life where you're like grappling with that? And now that your kids are older, I got to learn a thing or two here. What's worked for you in that regard of like trying to help them find their interests and maybe align with your interests, and what's backfired on you?
So me and my wife, we own quite a few businesses together, some home service, this business and everything. Our approach is we want them to see the excitement that we have growing businesses and everything else. We want them to see the hard times too. And we just hope, right? And it's starting to work, that they see that there's a different path than going and working for somebody, right?
Mhm.
And we don't want them to go and work for somebody. We also don't want them to come work for us in the beginning. We want to force them to get a job. We hope
Yeah.
that they hate it, right? Absolutely hate everything about it, right? And then see, like, oh, this is why I don't want to work for somebody else. This is why I want to turn around and be like mom and dad. Our daughter, she's already in that mindset. So she turns around, she'll be up in her room making, like, the other day she came downstairs. These are her bracelets, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
she had both of her arms from elbow to down here with bracelets that she made, right? And then she came downstairs in the morning to show me. She goes, I'm going to sell these all in school. I said, that's great, but your hands are turning purple. You need to take them off right now, right? And because they're cutting off all of her circulation, she took them all off, and then she's off at school selling them like every weekend. She's literally, we live in like a Mr. Rogers neighborhood here
Yeah.
on this like island where we're at. And she goes with her friends and they set up lemonade stands all the time. And she's always trying to make her own money, figure out how to do it. Yeah. She'll come to me and be like, Dad, can I get this? Because we want to go sell this and so on and so forth. Like, yeah, but I'll give you the money, but then you have to pay me back first. Then you get to make your money, right? So trying to teach her those little things, but she's our little entrepreneur for sure.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What she has dyslexia and a couple other things. Our twins were super micro preemies. They were born at like 26 weeks.
Oh, man.
None of them were supposed to survive.
No kidding.
And if they did, they were supposed to have cerebral palsy. Luckily, none of that happened and they all turned out right. But she does have a bit of a learning disability. You can't really tell if you're talking to her and doing everything. It only shows up when, like, she's doing schoolwork. You start noticing those things. So we have her like in a lot of tutoring and stuff. But what's really cool is the boys are kind of like straight A's and like blah, blah, blah and everything. Those boys, if we were lost on an island, like, they would be worthless, right? They can't do anything. Yeah, they can't do anything for themselves. And she's like running around. We call her little mama, and she's turning around and, she's acting like an entrepreneur. She's got street smarts like crazy. She figures things out. Like, we could survive with her on the island, but the boys were lost.
Yeah, they'd be like, where's the
dead weight to us.
textbook that tells me how to stay alive out here? I need a textbook.
Yeah. So it's kind of amazing to see how that works. So, in the beginning, of course, you're like worried, oh my God, if she doesn't catch up to this, like, all of her life, she's gonna have problems, right? But no, she's the one who's the most independent. She's the most one likely to run her own successful business and so on and so forth. So really cool to see that.
I was gonna say, it's got to be cool to like watch them develop and pick up on whatever tendencies they are and support it and reinforce it. My oldest, that's turning 9 here, she kind of does similar stuff. At some point I got to get her a lawnmower and just send her out like wearing tight shorts and mowing lawns. I think she'll do great doing that. But she is like making paper things and making bracelets, and she'll start walking around the neighborhood, like knocking doors, selling stuff. And my wife is like all like nervous about it, right? Like safety wise. And I'm like, hell no. Like, how cool is that? Like, get her out there. Most adults can't go knock a door and sell something. Like, we're too scared to do it. Like, what a good training to learn how to be a business person. Go knock some doors and see what it takes to sell something. So we have
that's pretty awesome.
Not an argument about it, but it's fun watching her go out there. She'd be like, can I make some of these and go knock some doors? I'm just like, absolutely. Don't tell your mom.
Yeah, I get that.
But
in our roles, it was flipped. I was the one who was overly protective, and my wife's always like, just let him do this, just let him do that, blah, 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 blah. So roles reversed compared to your situation.
You gotta have a good cop, bad cop. You gotta, like, there's a dynamic in that to have somebody that can like lay down hey, here's what we're gonna do. But it's good to have a little healthy disagreement every once in a while as parents, I think.
Yep. Yep.
What you said you and your wife have quite a few businesses or a handful of businesses. I want to get into the kind of spread of what you guys have gotten yourself into. But I want you to go back a little bit and kind of catch us up on how the hell you got to the home service space in the first place. Was there a moment when you were a kid out mowing lawns or selling stuff door to door? Like, what scratched that entrepreneurial itch for you? And how did you progress through that to where you are now?
Oh man. So sheesh. If I would go back, how did I get into home services? So first job I ever had when I turned 18, I worked for, well, yeah, first one as an adult because I started working at super young age. I worked at Mike's Sub Shop and Pizza Hut and every fast food you could think of from 15 to 18. At 18, I got my first, what I consider like my real job for whatever reason as an adult. It was at Nielsen Media Research and at telemarketing, gathering all the information, right, for what people watch and stuff. It was awful.
Pounding phones, or what were you doing there?
Yeah, it just auto dialed. You picked up, and then you tried to talk people into putting this box in their house that records what they're watching when they're watching it, and that feeds back to the ratings that we all get on TV. Right, so that's how it works. I'm not sure if that's still how it works or not, but yeah, it was a big thing in Clearwater, Florida. That's where I lived at the time, and
now we probably now nobody asks permission. It's probably there's a device in the TV doing that, and we don't even know it. Nobody's asking permission for that anymore. It's somewhere in there.
Oh yeah, the phones feeding the information, the dishwasher, microwaves feeding back the information. Everything's connected now, right? But I hated that job. Outside of there was a lot of pretty girls there, so that was the plus, right? Outside, yeah, telemarketing was way to go when you're younger. Yeah, but I had a buddy that worked doing irrigation, and he was like, "Hey, one of my friends' friends has a lawn business. He's looking for people." So I went and worked there, and I think it was. First couple days, I don't even think it was a week. He fired me. Eventually, like my option was to go back to near.
Yeah, he didn't like you, or you're like ran over a rock and got it.
I'm fixing to tell you for sure. So, my options were to go back to Nielsen, right, and sit in that office forever, right, where time just slowly goes by, or try to go back and get my job back. So I called him up, and for a while he wouldn't answer, but I just kept calling every day, multiple times a day. Finally answered. He told me I was the worst employee he's ever hired in his life, and man. I mean, he laid into me for what seemed like 30 to 45 minutes of just how god awful of a person that I was, right? And I never in my life had anybody ever talk to me like that. And I didn't like it. But it was one of the best things that ever happened to me for work. So because that happened, he did let me back because I kept going, I wouldn't give up. And it was like maybe a month or two later, I was running everything. I was the best employee he ever had. He became like a dad to me. I didn't have parents, and I won't get into that, but he became like a real first father figure in my life.
What changed that you went from being the worst employee to the best employee? Was it a work ethic thing? Was it like a learning curve, or
it was how he talked to me, like to putting me down like that? Yeah, like I didn't like that. People, like growing up, people always respected me. I was always the leader in everything that I did. Like no guy looked down on me, right? Like I was always the coolest guy, right? Like that I was just that guy. So nobody ever said anything like that to me before. Of course, my mother would tear me a new butt. Yeah. So right. But no man's ever talked to me like that. And I did not like it. And I knew at that moment, like, that ain't going to happen again. Right. So I just fixed it right then and there. It's easy, right? It's like, if I don't want anybody to ever talk to me like that again, then I'm not going to act like that again. Right. I went from I think I started at $10 an hour, made $12 50 like really quick. I was rich at that point because I grew up super poor. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah,
Right. This is like 19. I think this is like 1998, and now I'm aging myself because now I'm at the point where I'm, recalling dates. So, that's what the old people used to do, right? I remember back in this, but yeah, and cite the year, so I'm that guy now.
Oh,
yeah. So, I turned everything around, worked for him for a long time. That's how I entered home services. And then we parted ways over a dispute that was really sad. There was two guys that had moved down from New York, and the heat was getting to them. They weren't used to that. They tried their best. We were like 2 hours away from the office, and he called their crew leader and said, just go ahead and fire them. They can walk home, right? And then I heard about it, right? Now it's the owner, me, and then everybody else, right? So I'm like, whoa, what? No, you can't do that. You guys are like 2 hours away from the office. Like, that's not cool, right? Yeah. So I called him up and we went back and forth. And I'm like, we can't do that, Joe. That's like not going to happen. If you do that, I promise you, like, this is the end for us. Like, we can't be friends. I'm going to have to quit. Like, I will quit over this. And he's like, you won't. And I was like, I will. And I quit. Right. Yeah. And that was the end of that.
They might be shitty employees, but they're still humans. We got to get them back here.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I got into the disaster restoration business. One of my friends was like, hey, want to go chase hurricanes, right? And do water damage cleanup. And I was like, water damage cleanup? He's like, yeah. I was like, dude, I had never heard of anybody having a water damage. Right. And he's like, that happens all the time. I'm like, what? That's crazy, right? So I did Hurricane Charlie and a whole bunch of others, but then got into the whole disaster restoration, and I'd spent 20 years in that. I'm still in it to a degree with one of my other businesses, but not nearly like I was. But that business.
When you bring that up, I had a pipe burst. Not even a pipe. The connection from the shutoff valve under the sink, there's like a copper little tube coming up, and then there's a fitting midway up, which is just kind of silly that it's not like the flex hose the whole way. It was copper pipe for 3/4 of it, then a little flex hose, and that connection broke over the winter, like mid-February at 2:30 in the morning, and I was out of town. My wife luckily it was in our master bathroom. My wife happened to hear it, and so she freaked out. And she couldn't explain. The phone rang, and I'm like in the fish house, sleeping like 4 hours north of here. I'm like, why is she calling me right now? And so she was freaking out. I had her go into she couldn't explain what was happening. Just said water was spraying everywhere, water on the floor, right? So I had her go into the basement and just shut the water valve off, and then we figured out what it was. We're still dealing with it. Like, there's holes around our house. They got it dried out, but it still smells like mildew. So they got to come back and retest it again. But man, water's no joke. That was a little pipe that burst for 3 minutes, maybe. Like, I can't imagine real water damage. Like, that's just like one side of the house, a few holes in the garage and master bedroom and the ceiling below. And it's like the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, it's 3 months later and we still don't have it fixed.
Yep. And then you got to deal with insurance and all the adjusters and that whole thing. And that's never pretty.
No.
Right. Yeah.
It's still our garage is still like a disastrous storage area because all the stuff had to come off that wall, which was a wall where we stored a lot of stuff, and we haven't been able to put it back up. So now, like, both cars are out. The whole floor is a disaster because everything that was on that wall is now just piled in shit piles on the floor. It's like, we got to get back to like living a normal life here, but we can't because we can't put it back until the thing gets fixed. So we're living that life. We're living that life right now.
Yep. But yeah, so as I was in the water damage side of things, I started eventually a lawn care business of my own, right? That would be the natural thing to do. And I turned around and I was doing pretty good. I was, printed out a bunch of things back then and ran some cheap ads in what was called the Flyer, black and white booklet goes around town in the Tampa Bay area. And I'm slowly growing things like just normal, got a couple guys. And one day I turned around and decided to there was this Laughing Bird Software is what it was called, the logo creator by Laughing Bird Software. And there was this gorilla on there holding a yellow sign, right? And I took that. I just liked it for whatever reason. Thought it was cool. No real reason. And my company was called Extreme Lawn Care. I don't know what was extreme about it, but it sounded freaking cool, right? Yeah. So I put the name on there, right? Exported the file. Started running the ads with it. Got the vinyl put on, big corrugated boards, put it on the open trailers and magnets on the side of the vehicle and everything. And all of a sudden my phone was blowing up like crazy, right? And people were going, we see you, your monkey guys around all the time, your gorilla guys, right? They didn't even know what our freaking name was. Nobody had a clue what our name was. Yeah, but we see you guys all the time, right? We didn't have, I think we maybe had 2 vehicles at that time, right? It just like took off. And then I was like, holy crap, there's like really something to this like mascot type of thing, right? Because people don't even know our name or anything. So I started looking into what was tightwad marketing back then, right? Just another form of guerrilla marketing and everything. And really got into that. And then that's how I started like understanding branding and stuff. So then I took that and then I stayed in the I grew that company. Long story short, I found my father for the first time in like forever. And while I sold that company, and then I was growing restoration companies. So my mother died when I was 20. She had high-grade glioblastoma. It changed my life. And I was like, man, I'm going to turn my life around. I was a druggie back then as well, right? So I turned around and wanted to turn my life around. And because I had no girlfriend, no family, no nothing, and I didn't have anything to hold me back. So I just started traveling different parts of the country. So like a guy wants to start a service master in Kentucky. Okay, I'll come there for a year, right? I'll launch everything for you. I'll help you with all your marketing and all that stuff, and we'll turn around and grow that one. Then I'll train my person, to take my position, and I'll move to the next company. And I did that for quite a while until I met my wife. Once I ran into her, then I had her come work at the company I was at. Then
was she like an entrepreneurial vagabond as well, just like out hustling stuff up, or what was her background? That
she was like, so her parents, which I love to death, her parents and her family are all government workers, so quite different. Quite different background there, but she is the black sheep, right? So she wanted to turn around and start her own interior design business. She went to interior design college and all that stuff. She's also she went to school for being an architect and all that stuff is too. But interior design is what she was trying to do when we hooked up. And I was asking her some questions like, if she watches this, she's gonna kill me. Like, what kind of corporation did you form? Is it LLC? Is it S corp? Is it blah blah? She had no clue what I was talking about. She's like, oh man, I'm gonna need to help her. So we did a couple of those things, and eventually I just pulled her over when she got pregnant with my first son. It was like, hey, just come into this industry and the water damage restoration industry. Let me train you how to do things, and so on and so forth. She did that. I blew that company up. Some things went down when the owner again at this company asked me to do some really terrible things. And I came home that night and I said, babe, I know we're doing well. I know we have now 3 kids in diapers, right? Yeah. 2 newborn twins at this point. Yeah. I said, we're probably going to ruin our credit and we're probably going to lose our house. But we need to write our resignation letters tonight and we need to get away from this company. We need to go start our own restoration company. He's probably going to come try to sue us for non-compete. But we got to do what we got to do. Here's what was asked of me in private. And I was the executive vice president of that company. And she said, okay, I'll trust you. We did that. So we lost our six figure. We both made good six figures. And we lost that. We gave away one of the vehicles. We put our house in, I forget what it was called with Wells Fargo, some program where basically you pay a little bit of money and then like a year later they reassess things and everything. And so we did all that stuff. He came after us. We fought back and forth with a little bit of money that we had. Her parents thought we were crazy. We ended up growing that business. Everything, we settled everything. He had everything to lose. We had everything to lose. We came to a mutual agreement with our attorneys, right? That okay, you guys either work it out or somebody's losing everything, right?
Yeah.
Neither
Yeah.
one. Yeah, when both of them were like, each of you guys have like roughly a 50-50 chance here, somebody's going to lose. So you guys have the option of talking it out amongst yourselves and agreeing to things, or, somebody's going to lose everything. So I called them up and I'm like, look,
that's some good legal
yeah,
advice. Like, thank
yeah,
goodness for a good lawyer.
yeah. And I was super, super tight with this business owner, like even more so than the other one I was telling you about. I still try to get teary eyed talking about it and everything, because I would have took a bullet for this guy. I loved him to death. It was really sad to see what happened, but long story short, we grew that business. We sold it in 2020. We did crawl space encapsulation, basement waterproofing, and water damage. We grew it. The biggest way, we did really good crawl space encapsulation. I mean, like really good. We were known nationwide, like super quick, right? And everybody was like, "Where'd you guys come from? How did you learn how to do this?" And so on and so forth, right? And a lot of doing encapsulation came with setting up mold containment all the time in the disaster restoration industry. So I was really, really good at that. And everything had to be perfect. Lines had to be perfect. Tape had to be cut perfect, right? So I'm very big perfectionist with that. And when that went over to crawl spaces just like perfectly for me sealing things, right? So it was easy for me to teach people how to do that and everything. But why we blew up wasn't because, and I tried to get everybody to understand this. I'd have meetings with all my crews and my wife and everybody. I'm like, what kind of company are we, guys? I'd ask them all the time, right? And they're like, oh yeah, we're a crawl space capsulation company, right? We do some basement waterproofing. This, and I'm like, God, you guys still don't get it. No, we are a marketing company, man. We are a branding company. Then we just happen to do really good crawl spaces, right? Because if you do really good work and nobody knows about it, then what's the point? You'll still go out of business, right? If nobody knows who you are, right? So people have to know who you are, and you have to do really good work, right? So we sold that company in 2020, and that changed our lives. And then we also started up a mold remediation, or not a mold remediation, but a mold consulting company. It's called The Mold Girl. And my wife's the face of that one. We have 5 offices in 4 states currently. And I started Kongify, our branding agency, at the same time. Yeah. So I've been growing that, and we've been growing the Mold Girl. I really just stay behind and do marketing and generate the leads, and her and her girls are the face of the company. Of course, the Mold Girl, I don't want to be showing up at anybody's house. I mean, I think I'm a pretty good looking guy, but she's
you just can't compete. Can't compete with the Mold Girl.
Yeah.
Andy. So Andy is one of my old business partners. He said, "I'm watching on LinkedIn. This is crazy. You're everywhere but Facebook." I got banned from Facebook because my account got hacked. And then I tried to start a new account. I got the old one shut down. Like after I got hacked, I couldn't get back into it. I started a new account, and then Facebook shut me down for trying to be my old account, like trying to be myself. It was now I'm like locked out of Facebook for 180 days. It's so stupid for trying to be myself, because it felt like in sports, if somebody retaliates, like if somebody kicks the guy in the junk and the next guy retaliates, it's the guy that retaliates that gets thrown out of the game. I feel like that was me. I got kicked in the junk, and then I retaliated by starting a new account, and I got thrown out of the game. Like the hacker's fine. Just Dan got thrown out of the game. But yeah, Andy, I'm on LinkedIn now, man. I don't know. Surprised LinkedIn lets Home Service Happy Hour even be on here, but maybe they haven't caught on to me yet. But Keefer, I got talking about the exodus of that business when you were VP and like running the show there. I had a similar thing in my old partnership, and Andy was like part of it. Andy, who's just checking in, had been running a business for a bunch of guys. I was the minority shareholder, but kind of like I was the one grinding and creating things. I created a bookkeeping business out of like thin air, which that's my nerdy finance skill set. And I basically said like, hey, I got to like buy you guys out because I'm building a business. And just like you said with branding, like I'm the face of it. Not that that's good or bad. It's actually, it's like bad for investors that the operator is the face of it because nobody cares about the investors then. And it was just me. Like people were there because of me. I was the gorilla. And so I said, for all of our sakes, Krasdog, you coming in here. Here comes the 2-year-old. How are you not in bed? What are you even doing? Okay. I want to say good night. You got your bear, you got your sports stuff on. Can you say good night in the microphone? Say good night. Or just be really shy. Can I get a hug? Give me a good hug. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Night, bud. He can't be let out the door. He's got to do it himself. Otherwise, it's a problem. Crosby, what are you doing over there, man? This is live podcasting. You just get 2-year-olds coming in. That's what we do. All right, night, bud. But anyway, it was one of those things where it was like, man, I'm like running this business, and I won't say I was like asked to do something against my values, but it was a repetition of like putting money first and people second. But everything that was told to me was put people first. But then everything that we did was put money first. And over time, it just like slapped me in the face. Like, oh shit, I left the corporate world because I didn't want to be putting money first and making a bunch of money for other people and making decisions based on that. I wanted to do the right thing and not the money thing. Money will come along if you're doing the right thing, but I don't want it to be the thing. And so that was the thing I realized, like running a business for a bunch of guys that are investors is, well, shit, they're investors. Like what they want is to generate a return on their capital. And what I want is to treat people really well and do a good job. And it's turning into an at odds situation. And so I was like, I gotta buy my business from you guys. Like I built it out of thin air, and it turned into like, oh, your business. Like that was to preserve our friendship, you're gonna need to talk to our lawyers. And I was like, that just feels like the two biggest middle fingers right back at you. Like to preserve our friendship, talk to our lawyers. And it all worked out. There was no friendship preserved. And that was like the lesson to me was like, oh, I don't know that there ever was a friendship. Like, I think I was just being used for 5, 6, 7 years. But it was one of those things. I don't know if you feel the same way. It's one of those things. It's like, I don't regret it at all because I learned so damn much and it made me good at what I'm good at today. So like, there's no regrets. I learned a ton. But I'll also never do it again. Like one of those lessons. It's the sweet spot lesson. Maybe I wish I would have learned the lesson a little bit faster. I don't regret it. But learn some lessons and better off for it.
Yeah. I can share this with you. So when I left that original company, there was a person there that was my best friend, right? That I met at work and we became best friends. I looked at him like a little brother, right? Loved him to death, man. And so when we resigned, right, I was like, hey, things probably aren't going to work out there. He's going to, most likely the business is going to shut down. Why don't you just turn around and you and your wife become partners? We'll do 50-50, right? Me and my wife, you and your wife will grow our own restoration business, right? I'm there for you, bud. Like, I'm not going to let you fail. I'm not going to let this affect you and your family. Got a kid on the way, right? Like, we're in it together, right? I was that type of person. So we did that. We made them 50-50 partners when we started the business and everything. And that's when you get to see a different side. Him and his wife just started doing like whatever they wanted, but not working in the business. So like I'm constantly out, like putting up containment setting up equipment, doing demo. So he's off at like some game, right? Some sports game and this and that all the time. And, eventually, I told him outside on one job, I was like, that's it. We can't work together. I want to buy you out. Right. Like, that's it. And we went through that, and we obviously lost the friendship and everything. But what was cool was I don't think he would have thought about running his own business. He did end up starting his own business, and they did really well, and he's got more kids and everything. So like, I look back at that and I don't regret it, because, I always want what's best for him. It didn't work out, and I'm sorry that we lost that friendship. And I still wish like he would pick up the phone and call me and be like, man, let's put that shit in the past. Right. But that doesn't happen. That's not real life, right? But I do hear from other people in the industry like how he's doing and how the business is being successful. I'm like, man, I'm so happy for him. Unfortunate that it didn't work out for us and everything. But buying somebody out, was painful, right? The whole thing is just ugly. So I feel you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. I don't know that ours could have ended. When I left, I don't know if that could have ended much better. Like, in I was talking, I said earlier, like praise to a good lawyer. There was a lot of me during that like 3 to 4 months of trying to exit that business, where I was just like, man, I just feel like I'm getting effed over and over again. I like voted to be underpaid for 5, 6, 7 years. And then everything, the minute I wanted to leave, was like, well, you need to pay us the market rate. And I was like, well, we paid me half of the market rate for the last 7 years, and I voted for it. Like, why does the market rate matter now? Like that whole sequence, I just felt like I was getting effed over. And so a lot of me, like, I had levers to pull to really screw them over. And I was just like, man, like, that's not me. But it's really hard when somebody's like pushing your back into a corner to not be like, you know what? I am going to pull that lever. But I'd like run it by my lawyer. I'm just like, hey, do we just like hold on to this lever, or what are we doing with this lever here? Because it really feels like they're forcing me to pull this lever. And he was just like, no, like, all that's going to happen if we go down that path is like more legal stuff. And I appreciated that from a lawyer, in that he was like, let's not do more legal stuff. Let's try to do less legal stuff. And like you were talking about earlier, let's get out of this without going down that path of suing the shit out of each other. And I'm so glad we did. Right. Andy said, I would do another business with Dan tomorrow. Likewise, Andy. But it was good to have that like legal counsel that wasn't like, yeah, let's sue the shit out of them, but was like, hey, here's take all the emotion out of it and play these rational cards, and let's focus on doing the things we need to do so you can start your next business and kick ass. And that's exactly what we did. It took 4 months to like finalize that. But we started the next business, and we're less than 2 years in, and we got 20 people on the team, and we're growing like gangbusters. And so when I look back, it's like, oh man, I'm so glad that was the path we chose, instead of pulling deceitful levers of like, you think you're going to F me, I'm going to F you back. And like I said, I won't say like we're friends over it, but we're definitely not enemies over it. And I can live with that a hell of a lot better and sleep a lot better at night than if you're like out there creating enemies. Like, I don't want to be creating enemies and looking over my shoulder. So thank God for a good lawyer. Rational.
Yep.
What,
wow.
I want to get into like you and your wife's dynamic. What was that like, kind of pulling her from the political world, if you will, the government space? It sounds like she had a little bit of an entrepreneurial itch. Was that easy for her to transition and like jump on board with you, or was it a long time discussion? And I ask very selfishly because my wife works at 3M right now. And as our business grows, I'm like, hey, there's probably a tipping point where like Best Damn Bookkeeping could really use your skill set. 3M can use it too, but it'd be nice to like have it all in house. How did that go? Obviously, like you guys started earlier. It sounds like even when you were dating, maybe. What was that like, trying to like partner up and work on it?
She was a freaking natural. She was born for it. Yeah, there's no question. Like she had no business working for somebody else. It was very apparent, right? That again, this is like the black sheep of the family, right? She's totally rebellious, wants to do her own thing, not have anybody control her, not answer to anybody, even her husband half the time 95% of the time. But, you know, yeah, she was super natural with that. It worked out really well. What was interesting when we started our company, Hydro Hero, she was in charge. I put her in charge of marketing. Like, that's what you're going to do. You're going to market, you're going to network, you're going to do all that stuff, right? I'll run the operations and blah, 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 blah. Boy, that was like the biggest mistake we made early on. I am totally unorganized, right? I'm the creative guy. I can juggle a bazillion things, but I can't focus on one. Right. Like that's my Achilles heel. My wife, right, who is very sociable. Everybody loves her. She can talk, and she can mix with anybody with any background. She's just super natural at that. She is absolutely rigid, and like, she wrote our manuals when we were turning our business into a franchise to sell. I mean, like, every little thing, every checklist, like, she's never read the checklist manifesto, but she like lives it. Yeah, right. Yeah. Everything is always planned out in personal life, everything. And we switched roles. I was like, okay, let me do the thing that I'm naturally good at, and then you do this, right? And man, that our company operated so lean and mean, it was crazy. And she has no problem, holding people accountable. So I jokingly, and I still call her it because of those days, call her the Fuhrer, because she just, man, she was ruthless. Like, she had all the guys just super trained and not getting away with anything, right? Like, there's nothing getting past her.
Gotta have a line. Yeah. There's something about a woman in that role too, where it's like, especially when you're running a home service business, a lot of your guys are younger dudes. And so I noticed that with our office managers back in the day in our window cleaning businesses, is they were like a mom. There were things that our crews would go to Nina, who was our office manager at the time. And they like, I'd see 4 of them in there talking to her. 2 of them would be crying. Nina would be giving them hugs. And I'd be like, Nina, what's going on? And she's like, you don't need to know. Like, I got it. Like, I'm in charge of this shit. And I was just like, okay, I trust you. You guys, you just, there's like, there was something about Mama Nina. They all respected the hell out of her, and I could tell them to do something 4 times. And if she told them to do it, it was like they were getting disciplined by mom, and nobody liked it. Like, I could tell them the same thing over and over again. And the minute she said it, they'd all just be like, yep, can't piss Nina off. She's the one that tells the customer who's coming out. We don't want any surprises when we get out there. There's just so
Yeah, but I hopefully your wife does come over. It was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. So I absolutely love it. She's the only partner I'll ever have.
Yeah, I like. How many businesses do you guys have now? Like, between investments or operations, what are you all twined into?
So some of them we don't talk about, but we own 4 different businesses, but 2 of them, the one that's the Mole Girl, and then Kongify.
Yeah. What when you guys started Kongify, was it always just about branding, or what was the initial vision for it, and what does it turn into today? Like, where's the sweet spot that you see?
Yeah. So when I started, it was supposed to be a branding company. It was actually called Disruptive Marketing. And it was spelled really weird. So I started that because that was my passion, and wanted to do branding, especially for the water damage restoration industry, because they get it so wrong. Our stuff was mascot based, fun, cartoony character. I actually turned her into the Mold Girl before we started the company, the Mold Girl. Internally, I branded her as the Mold Girl. At one point when I needed her to become our industrial hygienist. In a story for another time, but we made her a companion mascot as well in her likeness and everything, and that was the route that we were supposed to go, as Disruptive. But I had a bunch of friends that had created a bunch of WordPress plugins for SEO, and everybody knew I knew how to do website design, and they're like, hey, why don't you do the websites for us, and then you use our SEO plugin, right? You give them SEO service using our plugin, and this would just work out. We'll just give you a bunch of work. Like, we've got ongoing work all the time. And boy, did they. I mean, they had so much work. Like, I didn't have to look for anything. I was building websites and doing SEO with the plugins. This was like SEO, like golden era here.
Yeah.
I mean, mass landing page producing duplicates with, you know, systems that were set up in the plugin that would change the words out and refresh it every time you reloaded the browser. So it was always fresh content. I mean, when I sold Hydro Hero, we had 87,000 landing pages. We owned everything in this state area. I mean, it just didn't matter what you typed in: fire damage, restoration, water damage, mold, whatever. We had it. We owned most of the spots, right? It was like 8 out of the 10 spots back then. And it was crazy. I had people just constantly paid in the background to just start making like short sentences that would randomly change out. It was nuts. But one day I'm sitting in my office early in the morning, and it just hit me. Not for any particular reason. I was like, we're an SEO company. I don't want to be an SEO company. I actually don't even like to do SEO. That's my least favorite thing. Yeah. Is it good money? Is it great? Like, is clients happy? Right? All that stuff. Yeah. All those things were great, but I just didn't really like it. So we rebranded the company to Kongify. And
I want to stop you for a second, because there's a weird thing that I see, and I've been there. I did that with maid service. I ran maid services for like 3-4 years, and I was like, I hate this. Why am I doing this? And I watch it happen with other entrepreneurs. And there's a creative guy that had a marketing business and actually did a lot of work for Prince. Rest in peace. We're in Minneapolis, so like Prince was his main client, and he had like a personal relationship with him, doing design stuff in his house. But anyway, I was in a CEO roundtable with the guy that ran the marketing company, and he was expressing this, and one day his big deep dive he was going through, and he gives this long monologue, and then he just goes, and then, you know what? I realized, fuck it. It's my business. I can do what I want, and I don't even want to do any of this stuff. And it's like, sometimes it's so weird. We get like held hostage by a business that is ours, that we're running, and the business is doing the thing. And like you said, SEO, it's like, yeah, we're doing SEO. We're really good at SEO. Wait a second. Like, why am I doing SEO? I don't even like SEO. This isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's just so funny that we can go down that path for way longer than you would rationally think would be meaningful. But you just have your head down and you're working hard, and clients are telling you they need stuff, and you're like, yep, I'm just doing my job. I got my business and I'm working it. How long do you think you were like in that vibe working through SEO stuff before you like pulled your head up and were like, wait a second, this is
it was 2 years into it, a good 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I'm like, this is, first of all, like, I don't need to work. So it was like, there was no pressure there, which was really nice, right? Our house is paid for and all that stuff. It was like, there's no reason. Like, so I just called a meeting with all my guys, and I was like, hey, this isn't going to work. We're going to rebrand, and we're going to become a branding company like we're supposed to be. And I think everybody thought that I was crazy at first, right? We let go a large portion of our staff and everything, but I was dead serious. Like, I'm not going to spend the rest of my life doing something that I don't really care for, even if we're good at it. Like, I don't have to do that, right?
Yeah.
Life is short, right? I'm like, I'm going to do something that I really like and that's meaningful. So we rebranded to Kongify. And then we started doing the branding for the water damage industry. And we had a client who does water damage and drain cleaning, right? It's kind of on the plumbing side of things. Yeah. We did his brand, and then he posted the stuff in a big home service group. And when everybody saw that, it started a shit storm. Let me tell you, like,
well, he wasn't in the sewer business, so
yeah. So good one there. So My emails just I like he posts in this private group that he's in. All I'm seeing is like I'm getting messages like crazy. I'm getting messages of people like cussing me out and all kinds of craziness. What the fuck is going on? Excuse my language. I don't know. Are we able to
Oh
cuss
no,
on
it's
this
happy
thing?
hour. It's happy hour. We can do whatever the hell we want.
Right. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? So it turns around. There's a huge competitor that I have. I won't mention their name, but most people in the home service business know who they are. And, they're like, oh, you're ripping them off and everything. I'm thinking to myself, like, what are you talking about? Right. I, I look at their stuff, so on and so forth. Beautiful work. Guys are fucking A+ dynamite company, right? Been around for 30 years now. Personally, I'm a big fan of theirs. So it's like, but they don't own that style. Like, what are you talking about? Right. Like, I have my companies that I've already sold and everything that have been operating for years and years with the same style, same branding that, we did, right. So on and so forth. But what also was good about it was, how they say that even negative press is good press,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Oh man. So is it just as many freaking comments that I was getting like defending this other person, which he handled everything very professionally, I have to say too. Super professional. Um all the people that hated, there was like really triple if not quadruple the people that came to me and was like, holy cow, like there's another option, right?
Yeah.
That isn't charging, X amount of dollars and everything. And that started our blowing up because then, we started, just doing more and more. And then people were starting to share all of our design work and all these Facebook groups and everything. And everybody was like, holy crap, there's a competitor to this company that's not charging their same prices too. Like we can actually have a chance at going against these huge, $10 million plus companies because we can't afford to hire this company. We know how important the branding is, right? But there's no chance. Like we're too small, right? So there was what I needed. There was my target audience. There was my market that all the people that I knew. My avatar was these smaller guys, not trying to compete with, the other big boys, right?
Yep.
Lean and mean. I'm already used to that. Everybody that works for me is in the Philippines, right? Like I'm just super lean, right? So I got a whole system that I can turn around and dominate, and I've been blessed ever since doing super high quality work. So the mission statement for Kongify is to bring high quality home service branding and make it affordable to everybody. So we did that last month. I also announced that we are doing that. I am offering in-house financing 0% for everything. So we give them an entire branding package and then they make a small down payment and then they pay over time. And that has transformed everything too. So like super, super blessed. Yeah. So like going back to what you were saying, like way before, right? Really building the company, not thinking about the money, right? And thinking about taking care of the people and all the money that comes, right? Long as
Yeah.
you're taking care of everybody. So yeah.
I think your pricing strategy is really good too to do like the 0% financing because one of the things I see, and Andy, my old business partner on LinkedIn, there he ran our window cleaning business in Minneapolis. He and I were actually competitors for a while. We had maid services and window cleaning companies, and then I started the bookkeeping company like underneath that umbrella. We actually merged with Andy, who was one of our window cleaning competitors in the Twin Cities, like the best dude on the planet. And so he ended up buying us out now, so he has that entire company. But when we did that, we made a couple things happened. The branding was Blue Skies was our company, and his was Kahuna Window Cleaning. And his had like Kahuna head, like a totem head style logo.
Yep.
It was just memorable, and I thought, like Blue Skies is so generic. Like how many blue skies are out there? every industry has a blue sky something or other. It's just not a memorable thing. Andy's was really memorable. And it's so important that when you're running a company, it means something to you. And Andy was going to be the one running the company. And so I thought it was so important that it means something to him. And in the like you said, going back to your comment about like these smaller companies being a market to be served, like that's where the mojo is in the home service industry. There's not a lot of $10 million companies out there. There's a more and more $1 million companies out there, but there's a ridiculous number of $200,000 to $500,000 companies out there that are just starting up. Like there's so many new entrants to the space. And Andy and I were both in there. We were both sub $1 million when we merged. In that branding, now Andy added some high rise stuff, and he'll be pushing 1.5 to 2 million this year. And a good like lesson that we learned, part of it, like I said, was it really important to me that it was his brand, right? We had the bigger brand and bigger company when we merged, but it was so important to me that the operator is passionate about it and that it like represents him and what means something to him, which is why you see beer mugs in my logo, because I'm from Wisconsin. And so I had to like embrace that. It's got to be something to me so I don't have to fake it. Like it's Dan. And you know it's Dan if there's a damn beer mug in it, because Dan's not faking anything, right? It's like it is Dan's brand. And Kahuna is Andy's brand. Kahuna is like Hawaiian for working with your hands. Like there's a whole lot more to it, but Andy's really passionate about like doing physical work and like serving people that way. And so he took out billboards last year, and I thought originally it was the dumbest damn thing. Andy, if you're still watching, I thought that was the dumbest damn thing. Spent $100,000 on billboards. And I was like, man, that's a crazy marketing decision. That's a lot of dough to spend on something that people can't buy from, right? Like Google ads, people can click on it and buy from it. It's really easy to tell what the conversion rate is and what the acquisition cost is. Your vehicle wraps is a little bit harder. Well, you can ask and you can get some data on it. But billboards, man, it's not like you can throw a QR code on that thing and people are like, it's illegal to have your phone in your hand in Minnesota. His wife is a cop though, so I told him he should put a QR code on it and then park her right next to that billboard. She can pull people over as they scan it. It'd be like the perfect little 1-2 punch. But the amount of lead increase we got from that awareness marketing, granted, at the time we were the only billboard for window cleaning. It says billboard, man, it worked. Now some competitors are literally mocking doing the exact same style billboard. It's almost hilarious. But the impact of that branding and the awareness marketing and how much it impacted everything else. Like we actually, in this is a conversation Andy and I have been having about like how to calculate it and measure it. But just the amount of like Google and like internet leads that came through 3x'd, right? They didn't even come from the billboard, but they did. We didn't change anything else. Like just it went from 500 leads to 15 or 1700 leads or something like that. And it really like struck me in the face. And it was about Andy did that similar to when I was starting this Best Damn Bookkeeping. And just like you said, when you got that awareness on Facebook of somebody posting in a group and like all of a sudden you get all the publicity, I think Andy saw the same thing with Kahuna because it's such a memorable brand. Like that, it's not a squeegee. Every window cleaning company has a damn squeegee, or like something. And you mentioned it with the restoration businesses. Like their brands are all boring. They're all based on the task or the activity. Like Kahuna isn't based on the task or activity. In a funny way, like behind the scenes, it kind of is. But the emblem of the Kahuna head and that totem head is a thing you don't forget. Best Damn Bookkeeping, it like says what it is, but it's the beer mug. It's not a laptop or a book, because it like nobody gives a shit about that. Bookkeeping is boring. We got to make it fun so that it's personable and attractive. I even think bookkeeping is boring, and I'm the one running the company doing it. Like I know it's boring. That's why we got to do this and have some fun and drink some beer. So it really like struck me as I observed those things about how important the branding and the awareness is. People can't even like attribute it specifically. Like the publicity, like you said earlier, even if it's bad publicity, it's recognizable. People don't forget those brands. It just sticks with them. And it's been crazy for Andy, and like watching his success. It's been, like I said, in less than 2 years, we're at 20 employees in this business. It took me 5 years to do that in my last bookkeeping business before I exited it. And it sounds like you kind of had a similar thing once you got focused back on the branding and Kongify, and you're able to embrace that and build that brand back up. It's funny. It's like it's Inception. You're building a brand about building brands. It's like you're another level deeper, even.
Yeah.
It's so cool to watch when that impact happens and the mad rush that comes with it.
Yeah, we what's really cool happening right now is so we're about a year and a half into this. So, really by the time the first clients have got their branding from us, it takes a while for it to roll out. That's a lot of money to invest. They got to schedule things. They got to get things printed, so on and so forth. Right. So we've had to wait like almost an entire year, really, a little bit over a year before we could go back and start getting statistics. Right. So I've been asked like a bazillion times, like, hey, what are the percentages? Like, what are people seeing? And I'm like, I got to be honest, like, it hasn't been long enough. Can't get anything measurable. I get what they telling me right now, and everything's looking really good. But honestly, I can't tell you anything. I'd just be making it up. So we finally are at that point. So we've started sending those things out. Hey, time frame from what the date that you launched, how much has things changed? We just got back our first 3. 80% increase in revenue. One went up $1.2 million in a year. Another one, 133% revenue. He'd been in business for 6 years prior to the rebrand. And I think if I remember right, he was doing like basically 600,000 every year, and then shot up 112%.
That's crazy.
Right after branding within 6 months. So super cool to start seeing all that trickle in now and have those stats and everything and be able to talk about those. So
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just so rewarding to see that, right? It's one thing for people to like tell you like oh man, this is like everybody's calling us, we're growing so fast, we're adding these things and stuff, right? Like, but not hearing the numbers yet or the percentages, right? And how impactful yet, so it's nice to finally be getting those like real tangible numbers to report back, right? And then of course use those in marketing as well, right? Sharing those success stories. So you're not just being like, we're making an impact. Well, where's the proof, right? So now the proof's coming.
Do you find, I got like 2 questions probably baked into about 5 here, so buckle up for a sec. Do you find when people are coming to you that there's like a spectrum of holy shit, you don't even have a brand, to oh damn, your brand's actually pretty good? Like, are you assessing their existing brand from the point they don't even have one to, oh, like that's actually a good looking brand, I don't think you need to focus on that, here's some other things to focus on? And then once you've assessed existing brand and however you feel about that, are there certain things in their marketing like portfolio of what they're already doing where it's like, hey, I can build this brand for you, but man, I'm not even gonna build this thing until you go get a Google My Business page, or until you actually like are ready to wrap a vehicle or have a website? Like, are there certain requirements? I find I say that because I find with bookkeeping, people will come to me and like one of my questions is, what CRM do you use? And some people will say, well, I don't have one. I invoice through QuickBooks. And I'm like, I tell them straight up, I'm like, honestly, you need to go find a CRM. Here's a few that I like. And I will, not that I won't do bookkeeping for you, but if you aren't getting a CRM to run your home service business, then you don't take your business seriously. You're missing out on like the most important tool that you should have to run a home service business. Bookkeeping ain't going to help you. I'll tell you right now, like, you're not committed to growing your business. Bookkeeping is just a tool to help you make decisions. What decisions do you need to make? You've already decided you don't give a shit about your business. So if you don't give a shit about it, why would you spend money with me to tell you that you don't care about it? Like, go invest in the best tool to run the business first. So like that's a conversation I have 1 out of 50 times with business owners when they book a demo with me. Do you find that there's certain things that you want to see in their marketing before you even start building a brand? Or or do you like end up doing it alongside like coaching them of like, hey, yeah, I can build you a really sexy brand, but if you're going to still drive around that creepy white van and you're not prepared to put the brand on your van, then, you know, I don't know that this is worth paying me for. Like, how do you diagnose that?
Yeah, so we don't really run into too many of those situations. The few that we run into is once in a blue moon, we'll have somebody call and be like, "Can you just do a logo for us?" And we don't like doing that. There, on a rare occasion, we will, but we really tell people, look, if you're just looking for a logo, you're not looking for us. What we don't want to do is create an awesome logo. You mistake that for your brand. Then you take that logo to some guy on Fiverr or your local wrap installer, right? And they throw something together. And then somebody says, oh man, that's a really nice brand that you got there. When in reality, it's total shit, right? Or who did your logo? And it's like, oh, Kongify did that. Wait, no. We did their logo. That shit wrap that you're looking at is not us, right? Yeah. So there's a real exposure that we have to protect our own quality and image, right? So we usually don't really do that. Most of the people that go ahead
along that line, like when you build a brand for somebody, and I'm probably like front running you here, like vehicle wrap. I'd imagine there's some website stuff or maybe some social media stuff. What's like the package for you where like, hey, if we're going to build you a brand, I want you to be using it this way in these spaces.
Yeah. So for us, it always starts with the brand identity. So like our basic package, right, is logo, style guide. So that way, you know how to use your logo properly, the fonts that were used to create your logo, all your different color codes for on and offline. So you're not like, one guy's like, oh, this is pretty close. That's pretty close. Next thing you know, the brand's completely off, right? Wrap design and the sublimation uniform shirts. Are you familiar with what those look like these days?
Yeah, I got some dye subs. I got me a couple dye subs from our pressure washing days because they wouldn't.
Oh, yeah. I don't know where they came from, but I always tell people I think that they came from pressure washing industry because they're bleach resistant and everything else. It just makes sense. Yep. That's where they came from. I don't know that for a fact, but that's my personal belief. But that's the entire first brand package. Then we have a couple others where we add yard signs, A-frames, and then another one where we add home show setup and everything as well. And then after they pick one of those package, and only after they've gone through the brand identity process, will we allow them to turn around and add all the other branding assets, brochures, folders, business cards, stationery, all that stuff. We do everything. Then they can also, if they don't have a website, we can build their website. Depending on the industry that they're in, city that they're in and stuff, we'll maybe offer SEO. We're super picky about that. We're not trying to be a SEO for all home services. I have a relationship with one person who's super good at SEO for painting. I mean, he just drives crazy results, right? So I have a painter, they go to him. There's no need to pay us. He's already the badass in painting, right? SEO. So go to him, right? And so on and so forth. Got one in the trash can cleaning industry, right? Don't do anything with that. They send us for the branding. We turn around and send them right back for doing the website and everything, because they're experts in that very sub niche of the home service industry. And I like that because it makes the brand more successful too.
Yeah. Do you go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for us, it always starts with the brand identity. I don't want anybody spending a whole bunch of money on marketing, right, when they don't have a solid brand that anybody's going to remember, because they're going to be spending more than they should. So the sooner they can get the brand identity down, the less that they're going to spend in marketing over time.
Yeah. Are there partners that you guys generally work with? Like if somebody's wanting a vehicle wrap or a yard sign, like do you guys have vendors where you're like, this is who we use, or hey, here's who we recommend, or does it get too regional when you start playing that game?
No, so we have power partners. We're very picky on who we choose. So on our website, there's a partner tab. You click on that. So like we have a trademark attorney right, that we work with all the time. He services the entire nation and everything. That's a super important win for us.
Yeah.
We have a plumbing coach, $1 million plumber, super awesome people. They do really well with the plumbing side of coaching things. Sublimation shirts, Scrappy Apparel. They've been absolutely excellent, and the quality's been top notch. I had another company that didn't. When we placed orders for our other business, it was the quality was so bad, and I was referring them before I knew.
Yeah.
So we got that. We got guys for fleet vehicles, right? That will turn around and they lease fleet vehicles. And here's what's the cool part: if you say need custom shelving put in there, or like you're a carpet cleaning company and you need a truck mount, or you're, maybe a pressure washing company that needs a hot seat, right? From my pressure washing days, I have some pressure washing background too.
Yeah.
Get those in there and stuff. They'll roll that into the leasing. They'll also roll the installation. They'll do the installation and roll that cost into the lease as well, making, the contractor have more and more money to put to other things and stuff. So that's really good. So we're always looking for power partners that have like real value, and we're not necessarily interested in just referring back and forth just so everybody gets business. We want you to actually like have some punch to you, like some real value for our clients. Like you're really going to help them either financially or, get the brand out there more.
Yeah. And I think in every space, but especially in marketing, because of your branding position, it's so critical when you pick affiliates and partners like that, because your recommendations are a reflection of you. Like I'm always so like I do some affiliate deals where money gets exchanged, but I almost don't care about it because it's so much more important to me that when I'm referring somebody, I know they're legit, right? And the reflection of me and my brand on who I refer people to. You mentioned it with Die Subs, where it's like, shit, I had that with a CPA where it's like I was referring work to him, and half the time people would come back and be like, this guy sucks. And I'm like, yeah, he's getting worse too. Like I'm watching it happen, right? It's like, damn it. Like, okay, not sending them any work anymore. I wasn't even getting paid. Just people were always asking me, like, who's a good CPA? Who's a good CPA? Maybe I made the guy too busy or something like that, but it's really frustrating. And it's like a really slippery slope of when you're referring somebody that can't hang. Then it reflects poorly on you. And especially when you're like one thing when you're a bookkeeper, it's another thing when you're in branding. And if you refer somebody to somebody that can't hang, now it's a reflection of your brand. And it's like, man, it's such a thing that needs to be highly vetted and such a high level of trust to send somebody to somebody else and trust that they'll uphold your level of service because you've given them a thing to expect. It's great, but it's also like I said, a slippery slope. It's a little bit tricky to make sure that you're finding the right people that can play at your level.
Yeah, there's one interesting thing, because we obviously do tons of wrap design, right? Is probably the most standout thing of all the branding that we do, right? Is the wraps. So what I find really interesting is we have tons and tons of wrap install companies reaching out to us, every week, all the time, filling out forms, trying to figure out if we can work together. And the first thing that I do is go and look at their Instagram, right? Facebook, pretty much Instagram for the most part, or TikTok. And I'm looking for just one thing. Are they posting videos of all their installs? Man, almost none of them are, right? It's like, well, I don't want to, there's no value here. First of all, I want the video for marketing. We're doing great work. I want to show it off.
Yeah.
But you have these beautiful canvases that you're covering. If you really have pride in what you're doing, you should be showing that. And if you're not showing that, then, I don't think that like you really love your craft and you're in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
So,
and you're doing marketing stuff, you should embrace the marketing. I think it's weird when marketing companies don't market. I'm like, wait, I'm hiring you to do my marketing and you don't even do your own marketing. Like, shouldn't you be the one saying like, hey, here's some marketing that I've done that worked for me? Like, it's hard for me to hire a marketing company if they don't even use themselves, like
Yep.
how do
I live in Charleston, South Carolina right now.
yeah.
So everybody's been asking us, hey, are you guys, when are you guys going to start going to the trade shows? When you guys start going to the trade shows? So in January, I had my executive assistant turn around and create a database. I want to know where all the home shows are, everyone you can possibly find in all the industries, right? Let's get them in a database. Let's get their fees, what they're for, the dates, everything. What we found out, which of course is what most people would assume, the vast majority are all in Las Vegas, right?
Mhm.
The second to that is really California, which is about a 4-hour drive for the most part on average, right? To getting to different part. That's a problem for where I live. So we're packing up and we're moving to Vegas.
Oh, no
So
kidding.
yeah, 2 weeks ago, we turned around and signed a lease on a place and everything, and now we're positioning this house to turn around and get it sold, and then we're gonna live out there. So, going to, how serious do I take the marketing? Very serious, right?
Yeah.
To that level that I'll relocate my entire family to be where I can be in the heat of it all the time. No pun intended, being in the desert and everything.
I mean, yeah, as long as you like warm weather, as I say, but you're right. Like Vegas is where half of the trade shows are. And
Yep.
I feel like Nashville's getting a few more and Orlando gets a good amount. California, I see California get used a lot for like West Coast deals, but they don't attract a bunch of the East Coast people. So it's almost like there's like the divide of the Rockies. But Vegas, everybody will get to because everybody has a direct flight to Vegas. Like it's so cheap to get to Vegas.
Bring that up too. That was the other great thing, right? Like if you're in Vegas, you can get a one shot to anywhere in the United States.
Everywhere can get to Vegas quick. Like we just like to gamble. Apparently, I'm not a gambler, but apparently everybody else likes it. So if that means it's a cheap flight and expensive drinks and hotel rooms for me.
Yes, but if you're not on the strip, man, the cost of living is really nice out there, right? And compared to where I'm at now, so it's great. Climate's really great. I mean, yeah, you're going to suffer for 3 months, but outside of those 3 months, it is freaking beautiful.
Oh yeah,
beautiful, right? I'm in the swamp heat here in the deep South, right? Oh, I'll take the dry heat any day.
Yeah, it's real. That's real, man. Like moisture is what gets you. What's the coolest project you guys have done, or like the biggest project you guys have done so far? What sticks out to you?
The coolest one, man, that would be between HVAC Masters of the Hustle, Jason Walker's company. He does a lot of training for HVAC. He called me and was like, "Hey, man, I have 2 weeks. I need to turn around and I'm opening up an HVAC business. I want to, I've been traveling forever. I want to turn around. I'm going to continue to keep traveling, but I want to be home a little bit more with my kids. And I also want to start my own HVAC business to show everybody all the things that I teach and how they can blow up their business watching me do it in real time. Right. Yeah. And he's like, so I got 2 weeks to come up with an entire brand and open the doors. Right. Can you do everything? Can you do this? Right. It's like, okay, let's do it. Yeah, right. Yeah. We pulled it off. I was just on Jason's podcast and he was telling the story again too. So it was super cool. We rolled that. We came up with his brand, Royalty Heating and Air. Right. The mascot character that he wanted. We created a king all dressed up, and he's got his scepter with that's made out of a thermometer, and he's got rolling hills and a vector scene on his wrap. And originally, when my team come back, they had little houses, right? They're going to give the royal treatment to the houses. I was like, man, I got an idea, guys. Turn them all into little castles, right? So one of the things that I just love about this particular design, because everybody's home is their own castle, right? So make all the little homes, little tiny castles. We did that. We rolled out his brand. We hit it. We also did the wall wraps and everything too. So he had those installed, and he opened his doors. And man, they've been blowing up like crazy. Just constantly on Facebook, he's adding another vehicle, adding another vehicle, adding another vehicle. So that is one of the ones that I love the most. And then there was another one, same predicament. They had a short window to open up their HVAC. I believe they did all HVAC, plumbing, and electrical, and out in Texas. And they had a really short timeline. They wanted their son turned into the mascot and everything. And what I liked about that one particularly, once we got the brand out there and everything, we gave them all the stuff. Next thing I know, I'm getting pictures of the fleet, right? And it was like 8 vehicles, brand new, right, off the lot, like, because they were just doing a grand opening and everything. And I mean, it was just like, wow, because normally, we're turning around, we're giving everybody, and then there's a long period before they actually start getting the things wrapped and everything. This just happened like that. Yeah. And then when you're seeing a picture and it's just like a parking lot full of all these vehicles, it's like, holy crap. They moved on that fast, and man, we did a great job. Yeah, so those ones. I mean, we love all of them for the most part. But yeah, those two particular ones really stand out.
Is it always? Do you always lean towards a mascot style logo? Are there times where you go a different direction based on the personality? Like, how do you? If you are doing a mascot, how do you pick it? Like, how does it? Like I said, mine's a beer mug, which I think fits me because I'm just sitting here drinking a Busch Light because I'm from Wisconsin. It's what I do. How do you pick that emblem or that mascot? And how much does a business owner facilitate that versus how much you're like, no, man, this has got to be you, dude. This is your brand. And if you're going away from a mascot, like what's the thing that would carry you away from that?
Yeah, so mascots particularly, so the target market in the home service industry obviously being women homeowners, right? So the more friendly that you can make things, the better for the most part. So if you can lean towards a mascot that's more cartoony, I prefer you do that, right? Just because the ideal situation I always like to say is, soccer mom's driving in her, back in the day, it would be a minivan. Now I think it's a Tahoe, right? Some sort of SUV, right? But definitely the Tahoe, right? She's driving down the street with her kids in the back, and the kids go, "Oh my God, hey, look at that cool teddy bear right there," right? And then the mom looks, is like, "Oh my God, that is so cute," right? The kids are having a positive emotional experience. The mother just had a positive emotional experience. That got ingrained in her head, right? Like, boom, I'll always remember them. She gets home a couple days later, right? She has an AC problem. She saw that Bear HVAC company, right? She turns around and remembers them. She turns around and calls them because she made that positive emotional connection. You don't get that with a lot of other things. That doesn't mean it can't be overcome. It's just much easier with a friendly mascot, right? Always a friendly mascot too, not one that looks like it's, sometimes we'll have somebody come to us and be like, well, we got a logo already. Okay, let me see your logo, right? Let's, and if it's good, maybe we can build a brand around it, right? And it's like, a masculine plumbing guy running like a psycho, with big beefed up muscles, and he's got a pipe wrench, right?
He's coming. Mario, he's coming in.
Yeah, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you when I get there,
coming
right?
Through your pipes, bitch.
Yeah. So, we try to lean people that way if possible, but we do like doing a lot of other things too. So animals are a big one, of course, right? I like to go for animals like nobody has particularly done before, right? There's lots of versions of bears out there and different things of that nature. We just did one pronghorn plumbing. Do you know what a pronghorn is?
I sure do. I'm an outdoorsy son of a gun. I haven't drawn a pronghorn tag, but I've applied to a couple.
Yeah. So over here on this side of the country, I don't think we know what the hell a pronghorn is, right? So it's only when I was out in Las Vegas did I see a sign for pronghorn, right? Which of course, then I'm like, I hear pronghorn, I immediately hear plumbing, right? Because it's an alliteration, right? And I'm like, Pronghorn Plumbing, that sounds like a brand that could be sold right there, right? Because we're always coming up with brand names for clients and stuff too. And right, so you got a cool regional thing. I turn around and look into it, right? All right, let me learn about this pronghorn. Oh my God, right? Fastest land mammal in the United States, runs 60 miles an hour, right? It's like, boom, we got ourselves something here. This is unique, right? They look unique in themselves, right? They're actually pretty freaking cool, right? I think say that they're antelope, but they're not an antelope. I don't know the difference myself.
Speed goats,
right?
They're speed goats. There used to be, we used to have cheetahs in the U.S. that would hunt them, but we don't anymore. They went extinct back in the Pleistocene era. This is like a thing I nerd out on. And so like they don't have a natural predator. They're too fast. At some point, evolution will slow them down, I assume, because they're just the only thing they're running from now is humans and bullets and arrows. Like we're the only thing that really chases after them because nothing else can kill them. They're too fast. They're made for Africa. All of the saber-toothed cats and the cheetahs that we used to have are all gone. So they're just out there chewing on sage and running away from humans. But I do I love the alliteration, and I'm curious, do you have like a big Rolodex? I assume it's in a Rolodex. Do you have a big like catalog of brands of things you've already like come up with, and you're just waiting for like, man, I can't wait till a window cleaning company calls me, or man, I'm super pumped for the next sewer and drain cleaning company. Like I got the perfect name for them. Do you have like a list of brand names just like ready to go on standby for the next, regional company that calls from over there?
Yeah. So we use Monday as our CRM, right? And we use a different thing to manage our we use something else to manage our projects. But for our actual CRM and running operations, we use Monday. So we have a board, right, with hundreds and hundreds of names that have been double checked with the USTPO and so on and so forth, right? Make sure we got short domains that match them and all that stuff. And then we also we have that running list. So we have designers that are designing all of our client sites. And then we have designers that are building brands that are pre-made that we turn around and sell as well. Because we have a lot of clients come to us like, we don't know what we want, right? And we can't visualize it, but we need something fast. And that's awesome. And that's when we can show them those things and go, oh, shoot, I love that. I can actually have that brand? Yeah, you can. So let's just double check with our trademark attorney one more time because it's been a while. Somebody could have took the name. So we go back, check everything. And if that all clears, then we move forward and then they have their brand, within less than 30 days usually.
I gotta throw a shout out here. It's gotta be Holly Moore checking in from the cleaning software. Said that's how Texas rolls. And that has to be in association with chasing around pronghorns and chasing them with some bullets is what I gotta imagine, Holly. So I gotta imagine she's the most badass gal you'll ever meet. She's got more trophies in her spaces than I think deer that I'll ever kill, probably. Good old Texas game.
Outside of mascots, icons is another thing that we do. And, unique colors is super important. Like you can't, it's one thing. Can you build a great brand off of a non-mascot? Yes. The proof is ServPro. I think that's the number one that for a home service, right? That's the proof in the pudding. Everybody knows those freaking green trucks. Their logo is ass. It is the ugliest little orange boring house that has no emotional connection, right? Then the question is, why is it so recognizable? Well, you do see it on the streets and everything, but they spend an ungodly amount of money marketing that, right? For them to be known as those green trucks, right? It would have been way simpler for them if they would have went out, instead of, masters of the disaster. Like, I always say the restoration industry is very masculine, right? So it's like Miss Jones' home burnt down, dog died, kids made it out, luckily safe, biggest asset in the trash. they're pulling up names Master Disaster, rap shows a burning house and everything. I mean, it's just salt in the wound, right? We're here,
Yeah.
we're gonna do full demo, we're gonna rip everything apart, right? And then we'll all be cleaned up and so on and so forth. It's like, holy shit, man. Like
Yeah.
that is such a bad way to go about things, right?
Yeah.
So like if ServPro would have took the approach of understanding, in my opinion, understanding who their target market really was, these homeowners, right? If they're going over the residential side of things, and they built their brand to make that emotional connection, they'd spend a lot less money in their overall marketing costs to make that
But
connection,
now
and
it's
more
like
people would like them.
right? They're so committed.
What's
now.
that?
They're so committed.
Oh yeah,
Like, it'd be
yeah.
impossible to change now.
Yeah, and this is the typical thing you see with a lot of franchises too. They they would be way more successful if they turn around and really understood that little part. But they get caught up in the corporate stuff, right? You
That's
still
the
see a
hard
lot
part.
of you still see a lot of theirs with white vans with logo, a quick logo slapped up on it that feels and looks very corporate and boring and bleh.
Just sterile. It's just sterile.
Yeah.
Like you're in a hospital. How I got one more batch of questions to ask you here, and then I got a closing question. Well, and whatever else the hell we want to talk about, but I got one more group of questions in mind, and it's a thing I'm reckoning with in my bookkeeping business. Like it's a real I think if you do a SWOT analysis, it maybe covers all 4 quadrants, which is AI. If you are in a technology space, and marketing is, and bookkeeping is, and home services can use it as a tool, but I'm curious how you look at AI and applying it to marketing to come up with those alliterative terms, right? Like it's a great tool for you guys. And I have this back and forth with it with bookkeeping. Like I could see it replacing my company at some point. I could see business owners trusting AI more than they trust me to do the bookkeeping and the financial analysis. But I also see it as a tool and an opportunity for us. And it's our bookkeepers are all in the Philippines as well. We have account managers in the US, but all of our bookkeepers are in the Philippines. And so I also assess it like, man, I feel like it's a tool for our team to use, but I also don't want to like lose our team to an AI. I don't know what the world looks like, but I'm curious how you view that, how you guys are using it as a tool today, and where you see the trajectory of that going to continue to help your business and help your clients.
Yeah, we use it for brainstorming. That's a big way that we use it. We leverage AI like crazy, not from necessarily a design point, but just coming up with different ideas and stuff that trigger different thoughts. Like, oh, maybe we could do something like this, because you always get stuck right in some tunnel. So it can help out in that way. We're not a huge fan of people generating stuff and coming to us and being like, hey, we want this. It's non-original right now, right? I'm not sure if that will ever change, but it's like what you just sent us, there's like a bazillion of these, right? They all look the same to some degree, right? They're not very distinguishable and so on and so forth. But they are nice to get a general idea when our clients send us stuff that's like AI generated and like, we really like this Falcon with, this plumbing wrench and these colors. Okay, let us draw a unique one, right? And let us make the tweaks and everything to make this outstanding, because right now it's not. Right. It's still getting better, right? Who knows what will come up, a year from now, 6 months from now, 6 days from now, right? The rate of everything is going. I mean, if you're watching this VO3 that just came out, are you aware of that?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I'm usually out in the woods or on a boat. I hide from all this stuff. I just hear other people talking about it.
Yeah, so Google just came out with their VO3 the other day, and they have this other thing called Flow that's powered by it, and you just generate AI video with just simple prompt, and it is so indistinguishable from real life. It's crazy. Like everything, like last week, the best that it was nowhere close to how good it is now. I mean, it's just you got to look up some of those videos. right? It's just going to absolutely blow your mind. I made a quick commercial. It's posted on our Facebook, right? And it's made like a drug ad, right? Like that you would see for some medication about branding and everything. And it is so unbelievably good. And it's in 8-second clips because that's how you can do it. But, I did it over a cup of coffee and then posted it up, right? Just, as a joke, just everybody to see. I get so much feedback like, oh, that is so funny. And it's just crazy to see what can be done. If I spend an entire day on it, oh my God. Because there's one guy that I originally saw that was the inspiration. It would cost him, I think he said $500,000 to make a normal drug commercial. That's what he does for a living. He made this thing in a couple hours and $500, and it is so high quality. It's crazy.
Yeah. I had an AI guy on a few weeks ago. Dan Young was his name. And we were like debating where the world goes under this. And I've had this conversation a few times. And all I run into is that it at some point, like it's going to create a wealth aggregation of the people that own the AI thing are going to have all the wealth because we're all going to be paying them the $50 or whatever to build the thing because instead of the $500,000 we can buy the subscription to the thing. It's going to be really interesting to see it play out. And honestly, as a human, I'm slightly appalled. I like using computers and that sort of mathematical intelligence to do the work, but I don't like it to do the thinking. I think humans should be doing the thinking. So I have a weird conundrum where I'm like, I'm against it. I think it's the end of us. I truly do. I think it's not a good thing for the human race. I think it's going to be, in the long run, it will be a bad thing where we look back and we're like, well, that was a fucking turning point. But I also see it as a tool to use to be more efficient, to be better. And we all want to be more efficient and be better. And I also, so somebody had put it to me this way, which is it's not AI that's going to take your job or take your business. It's the guy using AI that's going to take your job or take your business. Right.
Yeah.
I think at some point AI will take all of it. And it does worry me. Like we're going to hit a point where it's just, everybody's going to be getting like a government income because there's going to be no jobs left. And I don't like the thought of that. I will be out hunting and fishing all the time, probably with Brad Smith here. He and I will be doing a lot of hunting and fishing together because I don't know what the hell else we're going to do. But I have found, and you can throw a comment on this if you're inclined, from running a bunch of home service businesses over time, probably the thing that worries me the most is the happiest people I see over and over and over again are the people that work the hardest. The people that work the least hard are the least happy. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. If you inherit a bunch of money and you're really rich, but you don't learn how to work hard, those people are generally miserable when I see them. And I know
there's no appreciation for it.
Yeah.
For the work.
And I see people that are poor but work really hard. And we like there's data globally that shows that, right? Like there's poor ass people in Africa that are way happier than we are. And so my association is like really it's hard work and pride that creates the happiness. And if computers are doing all the hard work, it takes away all of our ability to do hard work and pride. Not to say we couldn't manufacture and like go create it for ourselves, which I think is why I like hunting and fishing so much. Is it's a lot of failure and really hard work. But it does make me a little bit nervous. But again, it's like it doesn't matter what Dan thinks, right? The world's happening. And I think in all of our cases, it is a tool to be used. I don't know what the ends to the means is, and we might regret the hell out of it, just like smoking cigarettes or whatever the hell else you could get into. I could see us looking back and being like, well, that was a bummer. But I don't think anybody's in a position. I think if you disassociate from it, that's also a bad move. So it's, like I said, it's a conundrum for me.
I'm with you 100% on that. So I tell my wife this all the time. I'm like, I don't want to go down all my conspiracy theories and everything because I am that guy. But I love AI. Absolutely love using it. It helps so much. I mean, it makes us so efficient. It is such a great tool. but it is absolutely, in my belief, the worst thing for humanity. I worry about my kids growing up in a world like that. I think that we'll get sick of it really quick once it gets to the level of like where VO3 is right now. Everything gets any better than that. We can't tell the difference between anything, right? I think people will get sick of it really quick, and then they're really going to start looking for the human connection. So I foresee a social media popping up where you have to be really verified through stuff, and you have to be a human. Everything that you post, every video you put out has to be human, right? And people will start flocking to that.
Filter. Yeah,
because I think as humans we want real connections, right? And we're going to get sick and tired of everything just being like make believe, right? And we're going to get dumber. Right? If you're not exercising your brain and really critically thinking, trying to solve problems, be creative and all that stuff, you just are relying on AI to do everything. There's multiple dangers there. I do think you're going to get a lot stupider, but the social engineering and control of how your brain works and how you're being steered to think certain things subliminally, right? I think that those are real things to worry about.
Have you seen the movie Idiocracy?
Yeah, my wife just watched it for the first time. Because I told her about it, right? I was like, you got to see it. It's like a documentary, right? This is crazy. Told her about the clog shoes.
We're all
the Crocs. Yeah. But yeah, she watched that like literally like 3 weeks ago, and she had my youngest son watching it with her too, and she just keeps coming back to me, telling me little lines. Did you see that? Like, yeah, it's crazy. That's where we're gonna get.
It's pretty spot on. Mike Judge did a really good job of making it hilarious too. But yeah, every time I watch it, I'm just like, man, this is where we're headed. This is what's happening right now. We're in it. We're doing it.
Yep.
What Keefer, we've been going for a while here. I don't know how this happens, but I just like this is how this show works. I have one like closing question for you that we'll wrap things up with, but I'm curious, is there anything that you're itching to chat about? Is there anything I didn't ask you where you're like, oh man, I wish you would ask me this? What did we miss, man?
No, there's really nothing. I mean, this has been absolutely great. I super appreciate you having me on. I guess really the only thing I would say is if you really want to grow a really good brand and do that at an affordable price, definitely check us out. That's about the only thing.
How does somebody check out Kongify, and how do they get a hold of you if they're interested?
Go to our website, kongify.co, not .com, just .co. That's KONGIFY.co. And check out all of our stuff there. Our pricing and packages are all super transparent. We don't try to hide anything. We don't want to jump on a phone call and then you get shocked with a price or any of that stuff. I think that just destroys trust right in the beginning. So nothing to push. We're busy as can be and grateful for everything. So like God, direct things and take it from there.
Heck yeah. All right, closing question for you, but I got to always put boundaries on this so that you can't take the easy way out. I'm going to preface and say marketing doesn't exist, and it doesn't exist in the branding space. You can't do like branding or marketing stuff you've already done before. Anything you've already done before is out. And I'm going to say home services don't exist. Robots are handling it all. There's no need to do that. But you got to go do something tomorrow. You got to go start a business, get a job, do something to go earn a living, get a paycheck, pay some bills. But money's not the object. It's just like, the world's your oyster. You can go do whatever the heck you want. You just can't do what you're doing today or home service related stuff. If you wake up tomorrow and that's the world you live in, what are you going to go do?
Do I have to earn money? I need to be clear about that.
Depends.
Is money not a thing now because we're under the universal? We got the universal basic income.
You might be that, or you might just tell your wife, like, hey, you're in charge here, and I got stuff to go do. And you can play that card. I got me a sugar mama. Marty's still she out earns the crap out of me. That's why I'm sitting here talking to you, having fun, and she's like probably sitting on her computer right now doing corporate stuff.
Yeah, so I guess I'd answer that with, like, my wife asked me, like, I think it was last year. She was like, if we could do our lives completely over again, we didn't have kids and all that stuff. What would you have done with your life? So I think it's really the same thing. Um, I'd probably become homeless, and I would just study the Bible, and I'd preach God's word, and that's all I would actually live for.
What would you go like Jehovah's Witness? Would you be like out knocking doors, or how would you approach it?
No, I actually don't. I have a hard time with church, and I don't believe in church and stuff. I have my own relationship with God. I OD'd, if you will, on ketamine when I was really young, and I talked to God, and that forever changed my life. And you know, I just want to live. I want to live a good, righteous life, and you know, that's that's all. I really wish that I didn't have, a need for money or anything like that. Like, I just would be like a freaking monk.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear you say that, because I thought I was the only one. I get a lot of guilt, especially from older generations, my grandparents, my parents not so much, but like aunts and uncles and my in-laws, that I really don't like going to church. Um, and it's not that I'm anti-religious. I just don't. That's just not where I find God at all. Feels very man-made and manufactured, like somebody's just asking for my money. It doesn't actually feel spiritual to me at all.
It doesn't.
Part of the reason I love going hunting and fishing is there's no barrier. Like, I am out there in God's world, and I'm surrounded by it. Like, and if you sit out there and you listen to what's happening and you watch how the world is working, especially when you get to hide. Like, I bow hunt a lot, and you hide your scent, and you hide your self from view, and you get to watch the world, like being the world without it knowing you're there. It's pretty special. And so I'm always trying to like seek that. Next week, I head up to the Boundary Waters in northern Minnesota on a canoe trip, and you're out of cell phone range. You're just out there. Like, you are out, like, I don't know, 20, 25 miles from the nearest thing that can rescue you. With the critters and with the weather, it's hot, it's cold, there's bugs, there's, like, you're surviving. And that to me is very spiritual. Sitting in a man-made building, hearing somebody, feels like a little bit of a cult to me. Like hearing somebody chant at me and I'm supposed to chant back doesn't feel very religious to me. But it's kind of like a teach their own. I also don't try to tell them they're wrong. I don't know what their thing is. It's just what they were told to do, and so they followed instructions. And maybe that's what makes you and I entrepreneurs, is that we're like, no way, man. Like, that's not like that. You're just doing what somebody told you to do. You don't know. You didn't find it. This is just what you were told, and you believed it. I don't know. But I'm curious if you want to get into that anymore. I'm curious, like, how you got there, because I resonate with that. Like, that's very much how I feel, and I always feel weird talking about it, because most people are like, well, you got to go to church. I'm like, do you? I don't know. Like, is that what God wanted? Was us to go sit in this building and chant, or did he want us out here? Because it feels to me like we should be out here, not in there. But that's just me. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. That's just where I go. So I'm curious how you're.
I mean, in the Bible, God says wherever there's three, where there's three joining in His company, that you're with God, right? That is your church, right? And if you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit all together, well, then you always have three. So anytime that you're talking to God, you're talking to all three. You're there, right? You're at church. But yeah, that's. It's just a very, yeah, I think your relationship's supposed to be personal with God. It's not to be out there going, hey, look at me, right? Like, I go to church, right? Look how great I am and everything. Because typically what you find is that most of the people in there are the total opposite. They're highly judgmental and everything, right? I'm covered in tattoos and so on and so forth. A lot of people that meet me, they would not think that I am as religious as I am, because you can really tell it shocks people, but not in like a way that I try to force stuff on them. It's just like, holy crap, this guy like is really into it. Can I share something with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Heck yeah. That's what we do. That's what we do here. I'm assuming it was also while you're up, it was your wife that decorated your office there. She's got
No,
that.
that's me.
Oh,
That's
really?
me.
You
Yep.
didn't let her touch that? I figured with the interior design and background, she had a little say in it.
Yeah, no. So now this is all me and everything. I'm putting in a major coffee bar there because again, I don't drink, but yeah. So this Bible I have to be super careful with. It's approaching 200 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, like spend a lot of money on that. It's trying to get my hands on old ones because
That's so cool.
the further I can go back in text, the closer I believe I can get to the truth before we start, making changes, whether on purpose or not, and so
Yeah.
on and so forth. But it's crazy to get your hands on things like this and then like start going through it and be like, wow, because it's really like I'm holding a portal back into time,
Yeah.
right? The way things are worded, the pictures, like how things are phrased. I think it's one of the coolest things ever.
That's super cool. I didn't call me naive, which I am. I didn't like even 200 years back, I didn't realize like it would be different.
Oh
Like
yeah. I mean the English, if you can even call it that. I mean, yeah, things get really wild, and the stuff that they say, right? You can certainly go back and not be able to read a lot of it as well.
Do you study those other languages at all? Would you if because you don't need to really have a job and you're on the world income or whatever the hell we're on, would you go like study Hebrew and Latin and all the other like old ancient languages to like get back into that time?
I would love to, but I would be terrible at it because I can't stay focused enough.
Oh no, man! You like I think that's one thing we like dog ourselves. Like entrepreneurs, we're all like ADHD. We in a way we have to be. It's in our nature, right? It's the thing. It's our biggest curse and our biggest strength for so many of us. But also there's like this weird knack we have for like powering. We have a weird ability to just like go when other people are short on energy. We're not. We just keep going. It's like the thing that it's like we expend energy and it gives us more energy sometimes. And I don't find that with most people. Like it's a very ADHD entrepreneur thing that we're like wired with. We have a hard time staying focused, that's for sure. But we also have like our little tricks and our things for like getting the things done that we need to get done. And there's also like when we get obsessive about something. I mean, I can't sit still for the life of me. I gotta be up, I gotta be moving, I gotta be doing stuff, but I can sit in a bow stand all day. I don't know how. I don't know why. Again, like probably a little bit of spiritual thing. Like I can be out there all day because I'm immediately distracted every 5 seconds by what this animal's doing, how this wind is blowing, what like where my scent is going and how I'm thinking about where I might move to. And I'm looking at my phone to like study other areas where I might want to go and do whatever. I think we like have this knack for finding ways to be super productive, even though we get ridiculously distracted. It's like a weird skill set. I don't know how to define it, but you know what I'm saying,
Yep.
Just got to figure. You would have to learn both at the same time, so you can get distracted between one and the other. Probably like three or four.
They say the older you are, though, that the harder it is to like learn another language and stuff. And you probably can't tell because of all the different color grading going on here, but my hair is pretty darn white.
It's getting. I got this like bullseye coming in here, and it's really been going since I started having kids. It's really been going, but it's getting a little farther back up here. More wisdom, more getting wiser. Well, Keefer, man, it was a blast having you on. You guys go check out Kongify.co and see what Keefer's up to. If you and like I said, we talked about it earlier, but branding is that like core component of your marketing to make sure everything's tied together and make sure it's working. And And I've seen it in action. I saw it with Andy's brand at Kahuna, and when he did the billboards, I've seen it at Best Damn Bookkeeping and making it like so intent on me. And Keefer mentioned the plumbing guy that like took off with his Regal business in the mascot. Keefer, any final thoughts to leave us with as we wrap things up?
No, not particularly.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, man.
I'm supposed to have something very cool to say there, but no.
Hey, I feel, I mean, we're like 2 hours in. I feel like we exhausted a hell of a lot of good stuff. We talked some religion, we talked some politics, we talked some AI. I feel like we covered all the bases. So I don't know that there's any juice left to squeeze, man. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on and rolling with the punches.
Thank you so much, Dan. Have a wonderful day, bud.
You bet. Home service homies, you guys know what to do. Work smarter and harder. Go earn yourself some pride. We'll catch you next week. Good night.